Oh no, it's not stopping. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it might be where you are. Welcome back to the live stream. My name is Jeff Fritz, and I can't get my music to stop. Oh, there it goes. ah, good morning. I'm here in Seattle today for a couple days because I'm here for the .NET Conf Focus on Blazor event, and I'm back in a hotel room here. It looks so sunny on its lights. How's it going there, chat room? Oh my gosh, good to see everybody here. Job in PA is at Halvard MM. Hello, howdy, good to see you. Let me see who else is here. CLW, hello. Coding with Loose. Let me come back to that in just a second. I want to make sure I give that the proper acknowledgement there. Sean, good to see you. Stelzy's here. Smab, hello. Unhip Coder. Good morning. Hello. Musical Bookworm. Hello. Kabazi. Yes. Good morning. Hello there. John Calloway is here. No tacos. Where'd the tacos go? They should have appeared. GG Feds. Good morning. Just fixed your laptop, says Smab. For a second, thought the sound had backed up. No, that was me. That was me. I've got my two machines set up here. I'm not quite set up with everything the way that I kind of expected here. Things are just a little bit different. Let me restart the bot. It looks like it's not running quite right. There it goes. And actually, I'm getting unable to connect to... There we go. There goes the tacos. I'm not going to be able to get the channel points loaded. That's okay. We won't be focusing on that too much today. Svava, hello. What mischief? Indeed. Oh, what do you see what we're going to do today? We've got a couple things I want to take a look at. We got some pull requests for our project we've been working on, sent in from viewers like you that we could take a look at here, including a really cool looking one from our friend Blazor, Mr. Magoo. I want to make sure I give those the appropriate time to look at, dig into, and learn from. To be frank, right? Let's see what other folks did here and what we can learn from them. But I also want to take a second and acknowledge a huge member of our community we lost last week. Those of you that may watch Pluralsight, that may watch any kind of developer training on video, pre-recorded training on video. I think of him almost as the dean of it. He was one of the first guys to really hit it big, setting the tone of how to do developer training. And I'm talking, of course, about K. Scott Allen. He had a podcast called Hurting Code, amazing blog called Ode to Code, and was known as the top teacher, the top video producer on the Pluralsight video training platform. I met Scott back in 2009. I was on my first speaking gig outside of my locale, outside of my local Philadelphia region. I was just going to the center of the state, going to Harrisburg. And he was the only other out-of-town speaker there. And he didn't know from anybody, but we're sitting in the speaker ready room ahead of the event, and he gave me some encouraging words. Hey, go get him. Good luck, and made me feel good, right? It got me started in feeling that we had done, that I was going in the right direction for that day's event. And being able to reach out to anybody, anywhere, offer them a kind, gentle word. The guy was absolutely kind, gentle, soft-spoken, but had a good opinion. Was an amazing technologist and a tremendous team. He was only 50 years old when he passed last week. Coding with Loose says, for us MVPs, the Microsoft MVPs, we're like a family. It feels like losing an old friend. Yeah. Agreed. CLW, one of the kindest folks, and we've tried to emulate. A lot of us have tried to emulate. Those of us that are doing developer work here on Twitch, absolutely, we've been influenced by what he set, the direction and the tone that he set as the most successful Pluralsight author. And you can Google and look up information about his Pluralsight courses and his success there. It's very well documented. I don't need to do that here, but I do want to make sure that I highlight one quote from him that I think is important for all of us who, whether we're watching Twitch, we're broadcasting on Twitch. He said something that I think strikes home for all of us. In one of his blog posts, he said, quote, "If I can brighten one person's day every day, my mission is accomplished." Thanks, Scott. You brightened a lot of our. Thank you. You were such a tremendous, and all the best to you and your family. Coding with Luce. Been meaning to complete a Pluralsight audition tape. Yep, absolutely. Make sure you do that. So, let me get some music playing here in the background. Let's move on. Let's get back into having some fun here. Let's see. What should I play today? Of course, we play music to code by. These are songs from our friend Mr. Carl Franklin, designed to get us in the flow, get us in the groove, so that whatever task it is we're working on, we can focus on and we can be more productive. Today, I think I'm going to play Indigo. I'm not going to play Indigo. Not on this machine. Oh no. We'll play Purple, in honor of the purple Blazor logo that we're going to see so much of this week. Tomorrow, of course, is the .NET Conf Blazor, Focus on Blazor event. Let me turn up the sound there a little bit. Oh my goodness, why didn't my alert pop there? Blazor Mr. Magoo gifting a sub to the community. Sean of the Dev, congratulations, you've got a tier 1 sub. Thank you so much, Blazor Mr. Magoo, for sharing that. Let me take a quick look here. Why didn't my alerts come through? Oh, have them turned on. Turn that back on. There we go. There we go. Nope, the bot is running. It was Stream Elements. I had it disabled. I had it hidden. There we go. Look at that right there.
Wheelchair Sean just resubscribed for 8 months.
Thank you so much, Sean. I really appreciate that. And we're going to make a donation for all of our gift subs, including the one from Blazor Mr. Magoo there, to Sean of the Dev. All of our subs, all of our cheers, we're going to make donations to code.org. They're helping students all over the United States get access to computer science in the classroom, something that schools here in the States aren't doing too good a job of, making sure that kids learn about computer science. So we're really excited to be able to help with that. The audio from Stream Elements is a bit low. It's all feeding into the same place here. Let's see. Check one more thing and then I've got to move on. Check this. Yeah, it's feeding into the same location as the desktop audio. What you're hearing for the music here in the background, we should be okay with it. All right. So we've been working on these Blazor Web Forms components. These are components that are designed to get folks in the groove. Not in the groove. That was the music. These are components that are designed to get folks migrated from web forms. Yeah, I know, Stelzy. I'm in a different setup here, so I'm making adjustments. Here we go. So these are designed to get you that shim, so that the markup that you had for a web forms project, and that ASP.NET Web Forms has been around for a long time. There's millions of projects out there in this state. If you want to migrate to Blazor, we want you to be able to reuse as much of your markup as possible. So let me head over here to the project. And let me put that view up. There it is, right there. This is the project page for the Blazor Web Forms components. And there's a bunch of things that are going on here, things that we've been working on. We've released up to a version 0.3.0 because we've released 3 components that all have a good cross-section of the presentation features to them. The data list, the repeater, and the ListView controls are now available as components that you can interact with and start using. They're not complete. They don't support all the edit and CRUD interactions, right? The create, read, update, and delete. It only supports the read so far. But for a presentation-focused website, web application, you're in pretty good shape. You can do your thing and it'll work. Now, over the past day, I was flying in and I put together a docs branch here where I started writing a little bit more documentation to round out and push folks in the direction of being successful here with the project. So I had a little bit of information here, and I started building out this strategy document here about how to use .NET Standard and why you want to use .NET Standard for this, and outlining a couple of samples that we want to put together that show how to push things into .NET Standard. A little bit outside the scope of the project, but giving that access to these strategies, I think, is going to be a good thing. And here's where I want those 2 samples to land, along with a little bit of README here about what it's going to show. So we'll build those samples at some point. I don't want to build them today, but we'll get there. I also wrote out a little bit more in this migration section here about readiness planning and known required changes, things that you need to make changes to in order to get over to Blazor. Things like you need to convert to C# because Blazor markup doesn't support Visual Basic, right? We're going to need to do a little bit here around master pages if we can get layouts to work. So layouts are a feature in Blazor that we can use to wrap our components and provide some standard layout and formatting for our pages. I also wrote up about data binding expressions here. Those go away. And I'm hinting here about web color. This is a feature we're going to talk about coming in from a pull request that we got over the weekend. Kind of exciting, and I'm looking forward to talking about this one. So, excuse me. So in the migration readiness planning, right, I wrote up a couple definitions, some high-level requirements that you need to have in order to get migrated. Things that if you have these, this is a non-starter. Thank you for the follow. Is that Arjun the Guru? Welcome. Good to see you. Thanks for tuning in. Why didn't the end then fire? Why don't I hear the sound effect for... I turned off that one as well. Should start to hear that one now for the end thens. Those should appear, right?
And then?
There it is. Something, C#, something. Marco Ruiz, 83. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate the sub, and we'll make a donation to code.org. Thank you very much. Something. What? Is the... How are we doing? Are we all right there? Christo Ball. Welcome. Thanks for tuning in. Are we okay? Is the sound all right? Can you hear me? It was okay in my testing. Let me know. I saw that it clipped a little bit there. It's meant to be read with Palpatine's accident. I see. Audio is fine. Thank you. So I wrote up these are just bullets. I'll put some actual prose around it. But the high-level requirements, these are things that are either non-starters or things that you're going to need to get in place first. The bot is low, so I can push that up a little bit over here, and also back over to this one here. Oh, where'd it go? Yes, that one right. Pull the music down a little bit more. There you go. How's that? There you go. That's a little bit louder. Okay, so I wrote a bit of this documentation. I feel like I need to turn the compressor on my headphones. And I think we've got a nice start here. I need to put a little bit more information around this.
Oh my.
Yeah. I need to put a little bit more information around this. There's things in here that I need to give some more definition around as to why they don't work, or ways to fix it going forward, alternate strategies that you can use. So I need to do a little bit of work here, but I've really just laid it out as bullets. You know, these are the things that you need to do. This is a big one that I want to make sure, because I know folks do this. I want to get rid of the find control. Right, folks will put a control on a page that's a composite control that contains other controls, and then they'll do a find control and say, well, inside of this square of features, go find inside that, maybe it's a form, go find that name field, and we're going to do something with that. Don't do that. Good morning, Eternal Dev Coder and MBB. Hello. So I've got I think a nice start to the high level topics I want to address here, but it definitely needs to be built out a little. So documentation is always something that feels like a gift to your community, when you can write documentation and explain how and why something works or how to use things. It's always a gift to folks to be able to write good documentation. So yes, it's snowy out here. I'm looking outside. Not too bad. Then again, I'm used to snow. So, but we've got 3 pull requests here, and I'm looking forward to taking a look at this. Oh, Kabazi. Let me start here with the first one. It looks like this is no longer in work in progress state. Marked as ready to view 7 minutes ago. Oh my goodness. Well, that's certainly time to start taking a look at things. Make sure getting coming in here on my phone. I got to balance a bunch of things going on. And oh, so Kabazi started work on validation, and validation is a big feature inside of ASP.NET Web Forms, because Web Forms is just that. It's intended to be a form presentation and interaction user framework. Be able to key in data, save it, search for it, edit it, delete. So to have validation and validators that go with it is a huge set of features. So Kabazi started on this a couple days ago, and was talking to us about it, what he was going through, what they were going through. I don't know if Kabazi is a guy or a gal, so I'll just use the general neutral they, what they were working through here, and has a couple things that we'll set up and do validation, and there is a validation component as part of Blazor, but this looks like enables the validation summary component. So let's see here. In order to point a validator to an input, we need to add a property for ref. Yeah. So this is a difference between WebForms and Blazor. In WebForms, you had an ID attribute on your controls. Thank you, Cortana, but you weren't called there. It's a guy. Thank you, Kabazi. All right. Not a problem. I'll remember the pronouns appropriately. So when we have web forms, you could refer to things by ID, and it just worked. Well, that ID in Blazor is referenced, is just copied down as an HTML ID. It's not actually used programmatically. Instead, they point to a property and use the @ref attribute here to point to what that property is and what you want to connect this component up to. So it's not really a bind, but it's more of a this is actually this thing over here. So Stoicsoft, oh my goodness.
Stoicsoft raided my stream with 31 viewers.
Welcome in, Raiders. Hello, hello. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Jeff Fritz. My goodness. Let me do this. Welcome in, Raiders. My name's Jeff. I write some code. How you doing out there? We're working on an open source project today called BlazorWebFormsComponents, where we're building components for folks to use that emulate the old web forms controls and make it easier for folks to migrate. And we've got a couple pull requests that are sitting here in our project we're going to look at. This one is from our friend Kabazi. We've got tacos. Look at the tacos flying by here. Thank you so much for the raid, Stoicsoft. What are you doing over there on your stream? Can you let us know? Can you drop us a line? I'd love to hear what was going on your channel before you stopped by over here. Thank you very much for that raid. That is phenomenal. Microsoft shuttles us as a service. Yeah, that'll be me. Actually, I've got a car. I've got an SUV here. Grand Theft Auto development. That is so cool. That is really cool to be able to extend and build out. Grand Theft Auto is really neat. Working on a game mode for Grand Theft Auto 5 using the Alt-V client written in JavaScript. JavaScript! I really need to tune into that because that sounds amazing to be able to modify Grand Theft Auto with JavaScript. You wouldn't think of AAA game being the horses. You wouldn't think of a AAA game being able to be modified that and enhanced with JavaScript. Very cool to hear. Is that SkyZ official? Welcome. Appreciate you tuning in. Thank you for the follow. Cofamelia, thank you for the follow as well. Boxhead73, I appreciate the follows. Helping us get to our 10,000 follower goal. And 99KR, appreciate the follow as well. Question from SkyZ official here, and is it Skeezy official? How's it going? The question is, am I from Seattle? No, actually, I'm from Philadelphia. I'm here for work at Microsoft, and I'm speaking as part of the .NET Conf Focus on Blazor event tomorrow. So flew in for that event. Is that Lizake 2? Welcome. First one, SkyZ official. All right. Thanks so much. And I'm glad I got the pronunciation right for you. So, yeah, I got to fly in and I beat the snow. I arrived before the snow did, and I have an SUV here for the week. And no problems getting around town. So, taking a look at what Kabazi did here for our validation. And it looks like, so this is definitely a concern. In order to connect a validator to a component, we need to be able to reference each other. So you need some sort of an ID to be able to do something like a control to validate. Point one object at the other. Makes sense. Let me come back to your question there in a minute, SkyZ official. I'm gonna mark that on featured chat so we can take a look at that in just a minute. I want to finish talking about the pull request we have here, and I'll be happy to answer your question. Okay, so validation is limited to edit form component and its model. So edit form is an object that Blazor makes available to us so that we can have a form that's editable, and be able to control how it posts and updates and things, those in. So that's definitely a thing. This kind of makes sense to be able to limit to validation to a form. We need two messages for validation, one for the summary and one for the validator itself. Right now, these two messages are stored together with a comma separating them. I understand why that's there. I'd be curious to see if there's some way that we can get this down to. And at some point, we're going to need to localize. But not a bad first add. Let's take a look-see here. I hadn't thought of validation, right? Validation groups. And right now it's called ASP.NET Validation Summary because there's another validation summary thing out there. So regex validator, custom validator, a base validator, validation summary. Nice. Okay. And if we look at the files that were changed, so there's a component list on the front page of our sample application. So we want to be able to look through to all of those features. Cool. And here's our samples that Kabazi wrote. Okay, so we can take a look at that. And here's the format of that custom validator. Server validate. Does it start with? That's the method that it's. Okay. Control to validate at name. So there it is there. The text does not start with a. Error message does not start with a, but in summary. Okay. So, and then here's a regular expression. Write a 5-digit number with a simple regular expression that says any digit 5 times. Okay. Control to validate is the name, this one. Not a 5-digit number, not a 5-digit number. Okay. So there's name. This is what it's referencing. Okay. We need the forward rep. Good morning, Flav Creations. Good to see you. Okay. There's our model. Okay. Required field validator sample. Nice. I love seeing all the samples. So we can actually run and see it running. Actually do a little bit of integration. So validation summary. So here's a couple different validator elements. And there's our validation summary. Nice. Bullet lists, and as a single paragraph. Now, yeah, using static system draw and color. That we may be able to get rid of. Next pull request that we're going to look at here. Imports Razor, validation summary, display mode. So this brings in the validation summary display mode. There it is. We're using this little trick so that we have each one of those display modes as a type that we can reference. Not bad. Okay. Okay. And then here's the validation summary Razor component with the various formats. See how this works. Cool. Very cool. And the code to go with it. why do we have all the properties here? Because it has style. Ah, okay, okay. On parameter set, here we go. If it doesn't have a current edit context, requires a cascading parameter of type edit context. Right, and that's where we get. That needs to be able to pass around. Nice, nice. On initialized, calculate the styles. This feels like it should be somewhere a little bit easier so you don't have to. Detach the validation style change, state change list. That makes sense. So we break apart the components when it's being exposed. There's our base validator. Okay. Yep, and that has style as well. The event handler. Nice, nice. All right. I'm feeling really good about this. The only thing that I see is that I would want to do is write some unit tests to go with it, just to make sure that we have something. But I'm going to merge this into master. It built successfully. It didn't break anything else, so I'm going to merge this into our components, into the project. And I think this is a great start for us to get this get validation moving, and as part of our project here. So I'm going to change this to say adding validation, and say added regex validator, custom validator, style, added validation summary. Don't need those last couple of comments, and I'll squash and merge. There we go. So now the changes that Kabazi suggested for us are now available as part of our master brand. And we can start doing some of that validation. We can start to explore and check out what's been provided for us here. So let me open my command prompt. I'm going to flip over to PowerShell mode. And I'm in the docs branch, and I'm in a docs branch here. So let me run a git pull so I can get the latest and check out the master branch. Pull again. So now I've got all those changes here locally, and I can build. We can take a look and run those samples and actually see what's going on. Now, before I look at the samples, let me come back and let's answer the question we got there from SkyZ official. There we go. What do you think about Seattle for software engineers? Finishing university in the UK, you want to move to the US, and you want to pick the perfect place to be. So there's definitely a group of folks here that believe if you're going to do software in the United States, there's only one place that you can be, and that's San Francisco. But if you move to San Francisco and you're getting paid less than $1 million annually, you can't afford housing. Housing in San Francisco is obnoxiously expensive. So expensive that teachers, firemen, police officers, they can't afford to live in San Francisco. So that's a real problem. Seattle is a tremendous place because you have not just Microsoft here, but Google, Facebook, Yahoo, Apple, Salesforce is in town, Concur is here. There are tremendous folks here in Seattle, but those are the big software companies. There is a lot of competition to get a job at these companies, and those aren't the only companies you should think of when you consider working for a software company. There's also a tremendous hub in Austin, Texas, and in New York City, I believe somebody else mentioned, that really there are a lot of big commercial software companies there. However, don't overlook the fact that there are consulting firms. There are just about every company out there now. Every enterprise needs some sort of software development. And those folks are looking for brilliant engineers that can come in and lead their departments. You don't necessarily need to be building the latest programming language, building Facebook or search engine, but you're building applications that are going to affect a lot of people. So sure, you can go to San Francisco and you can work for Uber, you can work for Google. It's going to cost you a lot to live there. The suburbs of Seattle are a little bit pricey as well. Austin, Texas is not as expensive, and a number of those companies have remote offices there. New York is expensive to live in, but huge big companies there, financial companies, particularly financial companies in the city that are available, that are always looking to hire folks, and they've got remote offices from a lot of those big software companies. So trying to figure out where you should go work, unless you really want to work for one of those software giants, you can go pretty much any big city in the United States. If you want to work for one of the big software companies, Seattle is an amazing choice, just because the cost of living, I think, balances better than in California. California has a bunch of law, tricky to live. I mean, Florida's another good hub, absolutely, very affordable, a lot of good people that live there. But the number of tech companies there, big tech companies there, not as significant. You're going to end up hanging on to some offshoot of one of the tourism companies that are in town. Is really what it feels like when you're in Tampa or Orlando. Main hubs there. Miami's huge, tremendous. There's definitely opportunity. Does Microsoft have remote offices? Absolutely, all over. SkyZ says maybe start somewhere else, not in San Francisco. If you get something really good, might move there. Sure, absolutely. Yep. As a UK-based student staying somewhere local, absolutely. There's some tremendous places in the UK. If there's a bustling consulting industry happening in Ireland, working in Leeds. There you go. Currently in Newcastle. Yeah. So, and there's a lot of folks that'll hire remotely. I live in Philadelphia and work for the company in Seattle. A lot of opportunities to consider. Don't think you need to pick up and move just to get a good job. Interview pretty much anywhere, right? Look for an opportunity that fits you, and then decide appropriately. But Microsoft does have remote offices all over the place. So how's it going, Dee Dee? I missed saying hello to you when you popped in. So here we go. We've got all of our tests ran properly here. That's a good start. If I run my sample application here, jumping back in, let's run this, see what those validators look like running locally here, and then we'll go look at our next pull request. So this is running Blazor server side, right? It's compiling all of our components so they run on a server. They're being rendered and delivered to us here. Look at that. Love seeing those links light up here for Blazor. So if I look at the required field validator, write something. Test. This looks like it's a number. There we go. So I can submit and that works. But if I don't write something, number is required. Okay. Name is required. Puts it right next to the. Cool. Okay. And if I look at validation summary, write something, and if I don't write something, name is required, but in summary. Look at that. And it lists everything out here, nicely styled. Cool. Line list, bold bullet list. Nice. So this works kind of as we expect, right? It looks very much like what it should be to emulate the way that web forms had a validation summary. I like it. I like it. Stelzy comments there is a green card issue for Europeans to work in the US. Yeah, for anybody out, any non-American to work in the US. Right now there is, under the current administration, a little bit of an immigrant working issue here. You want to work for Cosmos DB, but only if remote. That'd be cool. Hashim, good sir, hello. What are we making? We're working on, these are our Blazor web forms components. These are components for Blazor that emulate the way that ASP.NET web forms presented content on screen. Thank you for the follow. Is that Depe? O2? Thank you so much for joining us. I feel like that has almost a Spanish tone. In Germany, after tax and social security contributions, you get about 50%. Yeah. So thanks so much for tuning in. So this looks pretty neat. Now, because of how we structured the project, that should actually also be working over here in our control samples. We should be able to run the client side right here. We should be able to debug and see what this looks like when it runs inside of WebAssembly. So Blazor components run in two locations, either on the server or as part of a WebAssembly delivery, right? In WebAssembly, that's that native compiled code that runs inside of every browser. So I can click through to some of these. Let me go to the regular expression file. And if I try and write something that isn't a 5-digit, are you kidding? Why is Cortana keep starting here? I'm not even turning this on and it just starts. One second. Yeah, I don't know why it just suddenly starts. Seriously, I don't want Cortana starting at all, and it just starts up in the middle of things. I've tried to turn it off, and it keeps turning itself back on. It's even marked turned off. You're from Italy. Oh, okay. Welcome. SkyZ officials, they said be right back. I'm not going to play the Jeopardy music, but I could. Absolutely. So this is nice. This is running client side. It's not making a round trip to the server. And it's actually running that validation properly for me. Very, very cool. So I'm happy with the code that Kabazi gave us. Looks like it functions properly. I want to make sure we get some unit tests to go with that. Now, unit tests to go with the validators means that our tests now need to key in some entries into text boxes and click those buttons and make sure that the validator and the validation summary properly paint those elements on screen. So I accepted the pull request. Normally, I wouldn't accept a pull request without unit tests, but this is such a tremendous addition, I wanted to make sure we include it. But I'm going to create a quick issue here. Validators need unit tests. We need to add some unit tests for the new validator control components. They look great, but to make sure that as we go forward, as I write code, as other folks write code, we don't break the way that we expect the validators to work. We want to have unit tests to pin that functionality so we get verification that it doesn't change in the future. So I'm going to mark this as an enhancement. It's not a bad first issue, and help wanted. Folks, anybody's welcome to key in some unit tests for these to make sure that they are behaving properly. So Healthcare is definitely an issue for folks coming in from Europe. Healthcare in the States is interesting. I didn't mark a project yet. Frank!
Buchero's just resubscribed for 14 months.
14
Unit
months?
Tests smile.
Yes, unit tests are a huge thing. Thank you so much, Frank, for those 14 months of support. I can't believe it. And we're going to make a donation to code.org on behalf of that subscription. All of our cheers, all of our subs, we'll make that. We will absolutely make that donation to code.org, as we are for all of our cheers and subs this month. Thank you very much. So, I don't want to let this get too far, but I've got other things we want to review today, and if anybody wants to write unit tests, please, you're welcome to chime in here and write a couple tests to go along with these. Otherwise, I'll write some later on this week here on stream, but it'd be great if a couple of these could be written ahead of time. Boom Boom says this is the transition of WebForm components onto Blazor so that WebForms projects can be more easily converted to a Blazor backend. Yes, that's exactly what we're working. Let me look at this second one here. This is adding web color to the project. Now, the issue that we're trying to address here is over here. We have this very interesting problem where in the style attributes of the controls, you can specify for your colors either the text, the system drawing color, name, right? You can specify wheat, you can specify white, or blue, and it'll properly handle that, turn it into the appropriate CSS markup, and output it appropriately. Or you could also provide HTML hex color notation. And in WebForms, they used a type converter to handle this, as Code DJ points out. But type converters are not available for Blazor. So I suggested, well, it'd be nice if we had just wrapped the color object inside of another object that had the implicit conversions available. And Code DJ went and built this web color that would provide that feature, and sent over a pull request that adds the web color to this. So, also added some gitignore files to handle Mac OS. Cool. Okay, so Mac OS formatting, that's fine. Changed color to web color in all the Razor files. Cool. We're going to need to go back and do that in the validators well, so that they're now using web color. After Blazor server side, in the sample project, changed the second data list in header style.razor to use a hex color instead of blue, and it just continues working. Test, changed complex style razor to use hex fox 0000 instead of red. Right, because in HTML colors, this is RGB, 2 characters for each. Fox FF says that the red is as bright as possible. The zeros, the green, are dark. So that is just red. This is just blue. And in the test, make sure that that's blue. To avoid Razor syntax error, use an @ sign around the hex RGB instead of just the straight hex RGB. So I completely understand that notation update, and I'm okay with adding that into our documentation as here's something that you need to know and a change you need if you're going to continue to use this format. I think we can all agree, chat room, and let me know if you agree with this. But I think we can all agree that the preferred way to style web components, CSS, right? Put a class on your object. Don't do these one-off properties for coloring of things. When you can put a CSS class on something and handle the coloring and things outside of your markup over in style sheet. But we do need to support this because that's the way it works. So we'll have this continue to work, but we'll encourage folks to migrate over to CSS classes. Now this is telling me that a check failed here. It failed compiling here. Let me take a look and see what the error is that's being reported. .NET command failed with, okay, so I can click into this and we can take a look. Have not been updated to include .NET Core 3.x. But here we go. We have 2 failed tests here. The style should contain the word blue, but actually contain the hex that a code DJ wrote here for us. Same thing here. It was expected to contain the word red, but it contains the hex markup. So that's an easy test. I can see that those tests pass logically, but we need to fix the test so that it appropriately marks and tests those. So I'm okay with accepting these changes, and we can touch that up there. Sean of the Dev, take care. Thanks so much for tuning in. So what I'm going to do is I think I can merge this and just fix that test real quick. Add more commits by pushing to the master branch on code DJ. Can I push it? And push this up? I think I can, can't I? Let's get a copy of this locally here. So I can get those. Check out a new branch test and then merge them. All right, so I'm not going to merge. I'm going to go find that unit test down here. Let me run all the tests, and we'll fix the tests and move them appropriately. Build errors? Build errors? What? What? 3 errors. The typer namespace name web color. Yeah, you have to rebuild here. Ooh. Okay, we've got a couple merge issues here that we're going to need to. It does not. So, okay, ASP.NET validation summary. We need to update that a little. So let's take a look at this. It's kind of a good thing that we didn't just blindly merge. So ASP.NET, because it needs to, okay, this is what I was saying, these things need to be changed to web colors instead of straight colors, right? And these here, and that's because of how the order that we merged things here. Base validator does not implement. So this here, there we need to change these web colors. Pretty easy. Okay. And what is this? Right. So nothing built because we had these this merge issue we need to handle here. Probably the last PR I merged made something failing in the newer one. Yeah, right. They were referencing color objects, and the interface was changed in the new one, so it doesn't handle it appropriately. So let's take a look here. So this now, instead of using static system drawing color, we want to use web color. And actually, I just removed. Can I remove this entirely? And does that help with? Let me go back over here. If I look at the files changed, yeah, we want to change that to using static BlazorWebFormsComponents. Now, this could be this could be a code smell that we need to move to better, right? A better central location for the color, right? Input base could not be found. Interesting. Input base, input base. No. Here's another one for system drawing color. We've already got that. Well, that's in the client side one. I think we're okay. We can force a rebuild now that we've updated a couple things. Nah, it's not that scary, black mark. No, no, no. Not quite sure why I'm seeing that. And they're only in the client side one. Oh, no, we're seeing it in the server side as well. Doesn't like the... That's all on required field validation summaries. We're gonna need to come back to those. But I'm gonna fix the two tests that I need to address. So here's the first one. Jump to that test. So instead of it saying it should contain red, well, it should contain now. We're at the appropriate hex node. And it's also over here in header style. Jump to this one. Instead of should contain blue, should contain that notation, and tell it to rerun those tests. And we should be good as far as the colors. There we go. So let me do this. Let me close the solution and reopen it. I feel like something isn't loaded. Things are out of state here because of how I merged those changes in. I think Visual Studio didn't quite load things properly. Look at that, unexpected error detected. Okay, so that's all cleaned. So now if I rebuild the solution, and I was able to run these before, so let's take a look here. Is that Zardy BG, never seen Blazor? Oh yeah. Now we're building components, and I can show you what some of the pages look like here. So there, my test ran, all the tests passed, good. And I don't have any, no, I still have the error. 6 errors. Validation summary sample. And this is telling me, there we go. Right, the color reference needed to be updated. Not quite sure why I'm getting an issue here with the edit. So with that change in, I should be able to rebuild and get a bunch of these errors going away. There we go. See if I can find some more. Static system drawing. That's not how you spell color. There we go. See if that's hanging out there anywhere. Nope, we're good. Okay. So if I look back over here, it still doesn't like. Did we change anything in those? No. Well, okay. Hang on. This isn't merged into master yet. So there's a little bit of what's going on. jump back over here and let me do the merge. Okay. Yeah, I've fixed unit tests and references to system drawing color in interface in validator. Okay. Now let me merge that into master. The first two. So I can see what this looks like. Okay. So now let's see what happens when I build. Now that all the components are there, it should, yep, rebuild all succeeded, so these errors should disappear if it truly rebuilt properly. Tests all ran properly. So if I start my after Blazor server side, this should run. I should be able to get into my validation summary and properly. Validation summary, and it's working. So I'm feeling really good about those changes now, and I've got some existing tests that now work. Now they're using web color. So I'm going to push those changes up. This will complete that here. Very cool. Thank you for this update. Works great. That's good stuff. I'm really happy to see that we have this color component issue addressed. And it should have closed out number 13 here for us. Yep, it's closed now because we finished this. And it should also, we should see, yep, it's kicking off a build over here. So this is running on Azure DevOps, and it's going to compile and run all those tests, and we should see it marked properly that these features are added in and work. Now, I feel like we should put some sort of an analyzer, something with this that encourages folks to use web color instead of color. Finds those references and pushes them out. Zardy, I'm not going to accept that comment just because of the I'm not going to put it on screen, but I'm going to allow it. Please don't use that language. Try and keep things a little bit family friendly here. Not a problem. Absolutely not a problem. But we want to make sure things are inclusive here, and that people can chat without where to go. I gotta find. But to your question, you watched parts of a video around 2 minutes ago with title saying Blazor will replace JavaScript for front end. You read the comments and people were saying that that's a crock, that they disagree. Yeah, I do disagree. It will not. Blazor will not replace JavaScript. JavaScript is native in every browser, is really quick and easy for folks to use and run, and there's so many folks that are building things with it, and I can't deny that's a pretty good thing. But there's a high frequency flutter in my audio. So I do have the gain turned up on this microphone. So the point that I would make to you about Blazor is I mean, I could turn off the gain here. The point, how's that? Is that better? So the point that I would tell you about Blazor is, yes, it's not going to replace how folks are doing things with JavaScript. What it is going to do is it's going to enable .NET developers to continue to reuse their components that they've already built and have running inside of other applications, but be able to run it now client side, just like the JavaScript folks have been able to do between moving things from Node running on the server to on the client, and getting that benefit. Yeah. There we go. So, yeah, like React Native for desktop. We want folks to be able to use whatever tools they're most comfortable with. And if you're .NET, if you're a C# developer, runs great. If you're a JavaScript developer, go for that. People are taking their favorite languages and allowing them to compile for WebAssembly, and there's nothing wrong with that. Runs great, runs inside the same sandbox that the JavaScript virtual machine runs inside the browser. Let's give that opportunity to .NET developers. There's a very rich interop capability from JavaScript into .NET in Blazor, and the other way around. So JavaScript can call .NET components running on the client, or on the server for that matter. And .NET can easily call into JavaScript components that are running inside the browser. So it's not going to go away, but it's certainly another opportunity for folks to use. Yeah, I didn't bring my normal travel audio rig here, so I'm kind of struggling along with these headphones. Traveling and doing these hotel-based streams are a test for when I do bigger streams when I'm on the road. For when I had DD Walsh and the Mobilize.net folks, had a setup there that I ran through and things worked great. And I know I need to bring all those things next time when we'll be on the road in 2 weeks. We'll be in Stockholm with a bunch of streams from Sweden for that week. So this looks like it's running properly. I'm kind of concerned that from GitHub, and this isn't something I can control. Okay, great, it sees that this ran properly, but when I click through to the details, build not found. So I don't know what to do with that. The other thing that I can do here is I had the noise gate turned on. If I turn off the noise gate, how's that? There's a hum underneath here in the hotel from the heater right over there. So this worries me. And where is it? There's a feedback thing here. No. Right, where did my builds go? Build disappears after I cannot access a build. I cannot access a build report. Getting build not found errors for every continuous integration build from my project. The build from my project hosted in GitHub The build is not accessible. Accessible? Did I spell that right? No, that's not how you spell it. I always receive a build not found error when clicking through from GitHub. There we go. So this is kind of worrisome that I can't click in and get any data out of here. Like, where'd Azure DevOps go? So that's a problem. That's a real problem. So let me go back to my pull requests. Yeah, see, I need to... there's a reason I had the noise gate and the gain turned up here. Exactly. This is why I tested and ran things through as best I could here. Downloaded the equalizer extension for Chrome and killed everything over 2 kilohertz. Oh, nice. Hey, InstaFluff, hello, hello. Yes, welcome to snowy Seattle. Not bad at all. A little bit of blowing snow, but it looks fine. Thank you for the follow, Zardy. Appreciate that. Hey there, singing Mexican. Yeah, Jeff versus Azure DevOps. Literally, where'd it go? Right, look, there was a build done here. So here, this is a big one from our friend, Blazor Mr. Magoo, SQL Mr. Magoo. Mr. Magoo did a tremendous job here. And let me show you what this looks like in a second, but I should be able to click through to this. And that one pops up. There it is. Right? But if I click through to look at the entire list, it doesn't load. Get my analytics, but I can't see the runs. So something's not quite right, but it's another in the long storied series of Jeff versus Azure DevOps. Don't like it. Don't like it. Hey there, Jean Valjean. So this is a big one. This is the layout template. And this took a little bit of innovation, and it looks very interesting from Mr. Magoo here to allow us. Let me show you what this. Close all. If we take a look at. Oh my gosh, Coding Bandit!
Coding Bandit just resubscribed for 13 months. Woohoo.
Woohoo indeed! Hey there, Carrie! Yes! Thank you so much for those 13 months. We're going to make a donation to code.org. Very cool, thank you. And I've got some new emotes that I want to show you in a little bit here. I want to talk about what this is, and then I'll show you the emote. So for our list view, this is the first component that we were writing. There is a concept of a layout template here that wraps the items that are being rendered by the item templates. This is the way web forms works. You have the ability to do these little bits of templates that affect the rest of the component. Jean Valjean.
Jean Valjean 80 just resubscribed.
Not Jean Valjean. It's Jean Valjean.
Mario.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that. That's very kind of you to say. And we're going to make another donation to code.org. Would I get into a problem with the bosses if I made a YouTube playlist titled Jeff versus Azure DevOps with all the failures? I don't think so, because these are real problems. These are bug reports. And if we position it as a series of bug reports, I don't think that's a problem. So definitely something that if I'm having this problem, somebody else is too. So, all right, let me, so these templates, doing this type of control nesting is kind of weird. And something that would be great to get working here. Thank you for the follow, Geeky007. Appreciate you joining us. Coding Bandit says Jeff versus Azure DevOps needs a movie trailer. I'm not going to be able to do this because in a world where one man needs to be able to build software reliably whenever there's a change in source control, it's Jeff. But he has to deal with DevOps, and they don't always work. Jeff versus Azure DevOps, coming soon to a theater near you. I definitely need to do something. I need the better microphones. I need to make that a thing. That would be so much fun. Anyways, so the templates here are kind of a key feature inside of ASP.NET, and that nesting and rework of a template hosting other templates is tricky and something you can't do out of the box with Blazor. But Mr. Magoo figured it out. So let's read this. The simplest you can make a solution for number 28. 28 is we need to be able to handle these templates. Fixed parameters on item data bound as they were event args, so you couldn't pass in. Yes, okay, this is something different. Modified layout test sample slightly to make sure alternating item template works, and to make sure the result is obviously different to the simple sample. Cool. So, I have not created a test for this as I'm not familiar with the testing library. That's okay, we can get into that. So Mr. Magoo has submitted this into our Spike branch. This is where we're testing, we're tinkering, we're trying to learn and see if this works, if this behaves properly for us. So merging into there without a test, I'm perfectly comfortable with. And in fact, I should, let's take a look at my branches here. Yeah. So let's do a git pull, git, I want to check out rack. Well, wait a second, wait. Git branch -r, so I see there it is. Git branch tracking, right, origin, spike layout. That should give me a print. Git checkout, origin, spike layout. Nope. How do I do that? I just did this the other day. Git checkout tracking and with footprint. Right, I just want to get that latest one. Thank you, Snellsy. There you go. Git checkout track. That's what it is. Origin. Yeah. Cool. So now I've got my local version of that spike layout. So as the merge happens here, I'll be able to take a look at what Mr. Magoo has for us in this isolated branch. I've not created a test for this, is not familiar, blah, blah, blah. But he was able to add layout template and push these items in here and have context item placeholder is item placeholder. So then he was able to get the layout test to render properly. Nice! Look at that. This is where the magic happens. By switching context to HTML when starting a code block immediately, we can create a render fragment in line. Effectively, everything in the if statement becomes a render fragment and then inject into the layout template as its context. So what Mr. Magoo has done here, if I understand correctly, is he's using a template to create a template. Default layout template if none was applied, the default template being added as the context. So let's take a look. This is interesting. So files changed 4. Okay, so here's the layout test. So the test, the way that I had written it, right, I had used child content so I could have layout template here, but he's actually got layout template as a top level element here, layout template with that T body with the item placeholder here. Oh, as a proof of concept, this looks really cool how that works. But item placeholder is a property on the table, so maybe as a second step, we'll be able to come in and update that. You can do all this in code as well, but this seemed easier for people to understand. It definitely seems easier to understand. This is a tremendous change here. So this is in the layout test, simple list view. Okay, there's the reference. On after render, yeah, let me turn on the white space. Right? Where is it to turn on the, there used to be it. Yeah, hide white space. We simplify what's being changed here. There we go. Calling base on after render at the beginning. Okay. Data binding events. Yep. That's not related to this, but so here's the list view. Right, so as an item data bound that returns a list view item event arguments. We just don't have what a list view item is yet. So remove this if it's not visible. Control's not visible, don't do anything. Okay. If layout template is null, there's the default. Builder add content 1 text. So yeah, that's really cool. Right, let me trying to find the layout template. There it is. It's a render fragment of type render fragment. That's interesting. Using template to build a template effectively. You needed the event or exchange to make it very cool. Thank you so much for tuning in, SkyZ Official. Appreciate you joining us. So going back up here then, right? So the layout template is basically saying add the context, add everything else inside of it. So there is no, if items does not equal null, switching context to HTML, then starting a code block immediately. We can create a render fragment inline. Yeah. So it's, if items does not equal null, call on data binding, invoke async. So that was, yeah, let's take a look at how this works so we can see the full file here. I'm really excited to see that. Yeah, the inline diffs are a little bit tricky to pick up here. It's interesting, you took off the if on item data bound has delegate, and you're just always invoking it. You're not checking to see if it has a delegate. Same thing here. Let's merge and see what this looks like. So this. Cool. And now if I go back over here, so it's inside the list view for our component. Okay. is it? Templates. Layout template. So it's a render fragment of type render fragment, and remove the obsolete flag because it looks like we can support it now. Which also means we would be able to do on layout created. We would be able to handle that event as well. We can come back to that later. Let's get the template working. This is neat. So, okay, there's the layout template, and it's referenced in 3 places, all in the Razor file. So over here, when it was just rendering the content, right, if there's any child content, we can get rid of this. Right, this doesn't need to be a thing here. So here, this is actually, if layout template is null, then add content 1 context. So basically add this thing. And here we're actually calling layout template because layout template is a render fragment. It's a delegate. And inside of it, you're switching to HTML and outputting the contents of this. That is so cool. I'm not sure why you put the comment block, but that is extremely interesting. So I'm not quite sure. Okay, empty data template. So where's the layout template itself? Or this is the content that goes inside the context. I get it. Adam! How's my hat man today? Doing great. I got my Blazor hat on. Check that out. I have the Blazor hat. Blazor with me for tomorrow. It doesn't need the check. Okay. How's the coffee tasting in Seattle? I've got G Fuel. Haven't had any coffee yet here. You saw the comments up here, weren't sure where they came from. Okay, that's fine. We'll get to that. We will get to that. Yeah, the Blazor. It's hanging in my closet over there. So let's check this out running. If I start the Blazor server side, right? I'm sure I'll run it with IIS Express. And we should see now, right? If I look at, why is it over here? You go back over there. I look at my control samples list view. The layout test actually has the layout template right here with a table named, of course, Robert, for Robert of the tables. And there's our item placeholder. This is item. So now if I go down to list view. Okay, so the simple list view where it's wrapping it, there's the child contents thing we want to get rid of. But the layout test just works. That's awesome. That is awesome. Well done, sir. Well done. Yeah. So let's do this. Let's clean up. Well, let me merge in Mr. Magoo's changes here. Really great stuff. Thank you so much.
Oh my.
And we'll be able to use this technique going forward. Oh my, indeed. It is quite impressive. Implement layout template. Yes, indeed. Huge. Fine discovery and implementation. This is going to lay the groundwork for a lot of things going forward here. A tremendous technique. Thank you for helping with this. That is tremendous. So let me come back over here. Let me go back to my brand. pull in those changes so I get the merge. Right, let me get rid of some of these extra ones. Very cool stuff. So now all of my...
And then?
and then we're going to clean up a little bit here and merge this in to the master branch because it looks really good. Write a nice little unit test to go with it. And it's not... Right, and we can mark this as a 040 preview 1. This is tremendous. I love seeing this working. So where we have layout test, right? I should be able to go back over here. Let's get rid of this. I don't need that. I think. Should be able to just get rid of that. And my layout should continue working. Love the tacos. Absolutely. Morzel says G Fuel should sponsor me. I've talked to them about it. But I don't play games. So that's a little bit of an issue for them. Even though developers, they need their caffeine too. So now I don't have that thing up at the top with the bits about that works. So I don't need this cascading value here. That can go away. Awesome. That's really great. Do I still need the layout template? I had a layout template object. I don't think I need this either. So that I believe get rid of. And I should be able to continue working. Right? Because I don't have a layout template object. It's that render fragment of render fragments. Yes, big thank you to Blazor and Mr. Magoo. Indeed. And I don't have this template object here either. Right? This isn't being used anywhere. So get rid of that. Right? Tacos for everyone. Everybody gets tacos. Am I traveling with a Stream Deck? I have 2 Stream Decks. Oh yes. So there we go. That build succeeded. I should be able to build across everything in it. Right, I can get rid of template here. Because I'm not this whole concept of templates, right? We don't need. That was something that I was spiking to try and get. I love this trick, and we're gonna need to extend that a little bit when we get to group templates, but we're gonna be able to use this layout template implementation here in a bunch of our other controls, components, as we go along. So let's see. A unit test to go with this, right? So all of our tests should continue to work. If I look at the test explorer, they're all working. I've got 40 out of 40. Let me pin that and just pull this down a smidge. And I'm going to copy, right? Mr. Magoo said he had a problem writing a unit test for this. And since he's working in a spike branch, not a problem. We can come through and make this work. Just add something here. So I'll just create a copy of my simple list that I'll call lay. And right, so here it's looking to see if we got the spans laid out appropriately for this list view. Well, now I can actually also add layout template, and that layout template, put a div, and we need to add that context, right? Context equals item placeholder. Right, so I can put a div here and put, say, header, right? Put a break. And now I can say, placeholder. if I've done this correctly, if I understand how to do it. The noise gate is slightly cutting me off. Cut back the close threshold. How's that? I think that should be a little bit better. Okay. So now I should be able to say also cut find, right? And I should find all div. The count should be 1. It should find that layout. And I should also find the header, right? Find all. I should find the B element. That count should be 1. It's just copying that stuff in, so it should still I don't need to inspect and do anything much more. So does anyone have suggestions on choosing an ORM? Tim Corey published a YouTube video advising against EF. I'd be curious as to why Tim advised against using Entity Framework. That's yeah, I'm curious to hear why. So it looks like that test worked. Let me just make sure it fails properly when it's not doing something when it should. Lily Hazel, hello. Thanks so much for joining us, Lily. It's good to see you. Where is it?
Greetings, my excellent friend.
Hello. Seattle is snowy. There's a little bit of some flurries coming in here, but it's nothing to get upset about. It's doing its thing. So I am getting that the layout, right? It should find, and it now works properly. The other thing that we can test while we're in here, and I need to remember to do these. Let me start the WebAssembly version of this and just make sure that from an integration point of view, that WebAssembly renders the layout properly. It should, because it's the same technology. When I click through to ListView to the layout test, yes, this is awesome. So I wrote a simple test here that verifies that it does properly have the elements that were built in the layout. And we can figure out how to enhance and make that layout a little bit more similar to what web forms use. Enhance that just a little bit to make it do its thing. But for what we have here right now, this is tremendous. I'm not going to send up a pull request here. So there's our new test. The other files that I removed. So let's add those changes. Removed extra template files we experimented with, and added a test for layout. Fantastic. What are my branches here? So let's do this. Let me merge master. Make sure all the unit tests still run. And we'll push this out and merge it with master. What am I working on, asks Lily. So I'm still working on these Blazor components that mimic the way that ASP.NET web forms behave, the way the controls work. And what we're doing, we took in a couple pull requests, a couple of viewers had some code for us today, so we've reviewed all of those, added some tests to go along with them to make sure that they continue working. And we're pushing changes out, and I'd like to cut a preview release here today. Looks like all my tests ran properly. Super Viking says, regarding Tim Corey's opinion on Entity Framework. It's not as decoupled as he would like to see. He also thinks Entity Framework really takes a high-level understanding that will take beginners longer to be able to get going and use safely compared to things like Dapper. He's not wrong. Not wrong. But it's a little bit of a challenge for my job when I see an MVP, when I see somebody say, "Oh, don't use," and here's the preferred data access technology. Super Viking, can you do me a favor? Can you whisper me a link to that video from Tim? And I'd like to look into it a little bit further, see what we can do to help him out. So, all right. So that works. That's merged in, and right, if I run the project the way that it sits here now, I should have the validators, I should have colors, and I should have my ListView layout all working. Right, there's all my validators. There's the ListView. So yeah, all right. Let's merge this into master. My version. So where's it? 040 preview 1. So I'd like to put together that release. The Twitch Loft, is the sound really that bad? I'm on the road. I'm here in Seattle, so I'm on a different rig than I normally have. I have very studio quality sound when I'm. So let's prepare this release and merge it into master. So it's nbgv. I don't have that installed. Shoot. How do I do that? nbgv.net. Right. So this is the repository up to the top of this. And I should have, there's a, yep, how do I install the CLI tool? There we go. .NET tool install. There we go. And now I'll be able to run this. Yeah, the sound is less than perfect, and like I said, I don't have my portable. I use a Zoom H6 when I'm on the road typically. And I didn't bring it this time because I thought, oh, there's so many things I got to bring with me. And quite literally, my bag was bursting at the seams with gear that I was bringing here because I didn't want to check a bag. Normally, when I'm on the road and I'm streaming like this, I check a bag that has my tripod, has all the things. I didn't even bring my camera this time. I wanted to keep things small because I'm only here for 2. All right, so now I should be able to do this, and I'll be able to prepare the release. And yeah, prepares a release by creating a release branch from the current version. Is that what I do? Yeah. Well, it's going to push the release to another version. I can't remember how I did this. Mary Jo Stabler is here. Hello, hello. Yeah, only 2 days this time. I want to tag the current version. 040 U1. Hey. Wound me. Can't remember how I did this before. If I do prepare release, I can specify the version increment. Yeah, I can specify the tag as preview 1. And I can specify the next version. Okay, so let's do nbgv prepare release, right? Well, when I merge the commit over, it'll get over there. That's that weird. Okay, so prepare release. We're gonna call this 040. Well, I should be able to say prepare release preview 1, right? Next version is going to be 0402, right? I think that's it. Capital V on. What do you mean you don't like that? I feel like I can't use the next version because it won't take the I can't push it to a preview 2. So if I do that, yeah, I don't want that. NBGV, right? It was set release, set version. 040 preview 2. So set version, yeah, I don't want that one. See, this is just weird now. You know? And look, it cut 040 here. No. No. What do you mean you're not found? Oh no, that's a branch. That's a branch out there. I feel like I've done something wrong here. Right? Back to F053. No, wait, it's reset hard. There we go. So I dropped all that versioning stuff that it did. Yeah, I'm still looking at 040 preview. So if I want to make this a release, stable release. How did I do this before to create preview releases? I don't want to do prepare release because it's doing a bunch of other rooms. I forget what I did to prepare the last release when I pushed the preview versions. I mean, it's all here in the log. I can look at the commits and see. Right when I did.
My.
I don't remember. Right, because I created a 030. There it is. Preview 1. Jump to a specific. Right? So 030 preview 1. And I put it as a pull request into master. Yeah, I think that's what I ended up doing. Right? Because, and I can't see the list of builds that ran here at all. that's if that's been pushed up to here, let's do this. Let's compare and put the pull request out, and we should be able to tag it at that point. Okay, it just got implemented layout templates on ListView. So create that pull request. There we go. Look at all that, including that. That's fine. So now it's going to run the test to make sure it all works, which we're pretty sure. Squash it, merge it, push it up. Thanks so much, Blazor, Mr. Magoo. Really appreciate you helping out. Yeah, we'll tag the commit after. Yeah. Thank you for the info there, Super Viking. Appreciate you sending that along. You're right, Kabazi. You're right. Absolutely. So there it is. It says queued, but yeah, we're already down into the tests. I love that it's running so much faster. I feel like I need to watch it here, otherwise it's going to disappear entirely on me. Right? So 8 commits. Let's see this. I forget what drops the hash off the end. Come on. Should be wrapping up here any second now. There it goes. 100% and build not found. It just built, and there it is. PR automated, last run, build not found. Can somebody clip that so we can attach it to that issue? Cortana. What the heck? That's really annoying. I never had Cortana start on this machine at all, ever. And all of a sudden, she's opening up for everything. Windows folks, we gotta talk. Chiron33, welcome. Okay, so if I squash and merge this, is it going to, right, that should do the thing here. Adding those, added autumn, and get rid of this. Get rid of these, and I'm going to leave the co-author in there. There we go. And yes, I'm going to delete that spike layout branch. So this should now build on master and give me that 040 preview 1 build. And hopefully I'll actually be able to see it build here. It's doing that. To check out master. Pull. Okay. Get rid of the spike branch. tag that. So we get that. Where'd that come from? I don't remember creating that tag. Okay, so it looks like the tests all ran properly. Is it going to show me? Did it release it? There it is. It's pushing right now out to master. But if I look over here, there it is, 040 preview 1. Good. Good, good. Shouldn't have. Yeah, where'd that? I'm gonna delete that one. That shouldn't be a thing. This. Is there a way to delete the tag? This one right here. No, don't create a release. Delete. There we go. All right. And now I'm going to this set dash version. Isn't that the command? L. Two. I don't really want to have that in Mac. No. Thank you for the build not found clip there. I'm definitely going to send that over to the DevOps folks today, because that's not right. So I will go back over to the feature branch we were working on. Merge master. Let's see where our conflicts are. And I'm just a little bit over time here. Let me see if I can.
Oh my.
I know. Let me see if I can hammer out these conflicts real quick. Base web form component. Way down here. Yeah, we want the master version. Thanks, go away. And that link doesn't work. Okay. Because we don't do that layout template rendered anymore. That's not a thing. Okay, ListView. Yeah, we want the incoming change, because we want the master that's being. Cool. That out. List view with alternating item template. It's the same thing. Why did it think that was? I want the incoming change here as well. What are you showing me there? queue these up. Data binding events. Oh, this was a test. And it changes to list item event args. Yep. Get that change. And let's move over here. This should still run all the tests properly. Once I'm sure all the tests run properly, I'll push this out, merge it into GitHub, and we'll call it a day. Build succeeded. Should see, what was it, like 41 tests? Is that the number we were at? 41? 41 tests, 41 succeeded. There we go. Right, push that out into GitHub, and we're going to be able to continue working forward here with this. Tremendous, tremendous. Oh my gosh. We've made some huge progress today. Huge. And this should even be updated. There it is. Out on NuGet. There it is. Just updated. The latest version, and it now supports layout templates. That's gigantic. Oh my gosh. Friends, I am so happy to see that working. And we're able to move forward now and continue using that technique to build more components. We don't need Mario. We already done. We already cleaned up everything. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. This was really good. My desktop audio is a little... So, we got a bunch of pull requests merged. I've got some documentation that is... It's on its way. It's not quite ready for merge and publication as the master. But we've got layout templates now. We can handle colors more appropriately so that it feels more like the markup that we had in web forms. And we've now got a bunch of validators that work. We could use some tests. We need some testing around some of those things. But we do have tests now for the layout template. This is really great stuff, and it's going to help me with our presentation tomorrow at .NET Conf Focus on Blazor, where we're going to talk about how to do Blazor for web forms. Let me check out who's streaming right now. In fact, I don't even have to look. I know who's streaming. She dropped me a text message. That was one of the messages I looked at here. I'm going to set up our raid. Let me get the raid call started. We're going to raid a friend, another member of the Live Coders. She's a tremendous personality. She's another Twitch partner. We're going to raid the one and only Lana Lux. She's working on another one of her games. She's using Unity, Visual Studio Code, and C# to build a 3D game. Really great stuff. I encourage you to check her out. Let me click the raid button and actually click through, right? You got to do that thing. There she is. We're going to start that raid. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. This video, like all my other videos, will be available over on YouTube. And we're getting them moving. There's a bunch of them that are queued up to be released. I'll push a bunch of them out a little bit later today. But me, I'm going to be heading over to the studio here on campus to test and make sure everything works. I'm going to tune my presentation a little bit, and I will see you tomorrow. Not at 10 a.m. Eastern, but I'll be on at, I think it's 4 p.m. Pacific from .NET Conf. We'll see you then. Take care, everybody. And we'll be back streaming again on Thursday. Have a good one.